Hey, everybody. Parker J is in the house for another Parker J. Cole Show after show. I hope you guys are having a lovely Saturday. It is starting to look a lot like spring. We've had April showers and now the May flowers are coming about. So I hope you're enjoying your weekend. So we had a great time on the show with my returning guest co-host. His name is Alan Steadham, and he's been with me a number of times. Some of you know who he is. So he's going to come on board with me right now. Alan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Alan, first of all, we always have such a good time when you are on the show with me. We always have a good time. Off air, on air, we just have a good time. I can't wait till I have an opportunity to meet you in person. So me, you, and Angie could just Angel rather could just hang out and just have just a great time. Be so much fun. Mm-hmm. But today was no different because we talked about your book, Mindfire, which has a lot to do with superheroes, superpowers, but in a very unique way. So for those of you who want to find out more about Alan, I have put his website below. And before I continue, I have to always thank our sponsors, Radio App. I want to thank them for their support. As I talked about on the show today, the Radio App is now live on the Google Play Store, and it is the sole app dedicated to Christian fiction and nonfiction. Go ahead, find out more about it. And then to Christian Book Club. If you want to grow your readership, go to christianbookclub.net. So, Alan, what were some things that we missed out on during the podcast interview that I want to mention right now?
Well, we did a pretty good job talking about the heroes, but we can talk about the villains now because in Mindfire, the villains aren't your one-dimensional bad guys, bad girls that just, like Captain Planet style. They actually have a story and actually I don't know whether we want to talk about Malevolence first, who's the female villain, or there's another one named Killer Knight, and he actually started off a hero on the Armin superhero team, but when attacked by a villain who wasn't even superpowered but just had technology and stuff, his family was attacked and his wife was injured, and his sister was actually killed, and their son was threatened, and it just pushed him too far. He snapped. He wanted revenge, and thus Killer Knight was born.
And that's the interesting thing is that what has to happen to you that would turn you into a villain. And I was thinking about that because I would like to think I would never be a serial killer. I would like to think that would never happen. But not everything is cut and dry. Sometimes the choices that we make, the people that we become, are only based off the choices that we make and circumstances that happen to us. Now, can we rise above those circumstances? Of course we can. But I was thinking, what would have to happen to me to turn me into a serial killer? Now, I will probably only be a one-time serial killer because I'm highly identifiable. Okay. Look for the one over there who talks too much. She's a serial killer who talks too much. But it's interesting because I didn't realize I had that depth of quote unquote villainy in me until my twin sister was in a hospital and the doctor's negligence almost killed her. And when they almost called, and I mentioned this to you, they almost called the police on me because of what had happened. And I became the person that I've seen on TV. I became that person. And I didn't know it was in me until my sister's life was at stake. So I totally understand how Killer Knight, who was at first a Silver Knight, was Silver Knight or White Knight?
Yeah, White Knight.
Yeah, White Knight. Was first White Knight, when his family's attacked, his sister gets killed, his child is threatened, his wife is, you just turn into somebody different. So let's talk about the whole aspect of villainy and why villainy is not always cut and dry.
Well, the thing about it is that to me, that is the epitome of the danger of the human condition. We're all human, but we all have choices to make every day, and terrible things happen to good people all the time. Yeah. And so what this explores is it adds the fictional element of superpowers to it, and the fact that these heroes particularly in this portion of the story that's showing the superhero team, the Armen, and they are, they're a team and they have secret identities. They wear the costumes and everything like that. But what happens if somebody finds out their secret identity and starts going after their family? And that's the crux of what, it's a very old comic book superhero argument. Basically, what's the deal with the revolving prison thing? The bad guy, the Batman catches the Joker, he sends the Joker to jail. Joker breaks out of jail, goes and does more bad stuff. Batman catches him, and so in the case of White Knight, he's faced with that, and he's like, basically, hey, we need to go and get this guy and take him out for good. And his teammate Crusader is saying, hey, no, we don't do that. We're the good guys. We have to it's not perfect, but we have to let the justice system deal with them. And he's like, no, we don't. And he snaps and he goes after the villain that threatened his family. And from that point, he's not the same person anymore. He has chosen that he's, going to go the vigilante way. He's going to go the villain way. And, basically he metes out his own justice on people. And that is, this book really explores the fine line between a hero and a villain when pushed to the edge. And that's particular with that. Even Crusader has to make some of those choices and decisions. Unfortunately, he makes the right decisions and he does not cross that line into being a villain, but he certainly has an edgy period where he's doing questionable things. Mm-hmm. And so it explores that. Now we get into a whole different category of villainy with Malevolence, because she's kind of an exploration in mental illness, because she's a perfectly normal person who suddenly has overwhelming powers develop, telepathy, and she cannot block out the thoughts of all the people around her. So she reaches deep within herself, and unfortunately, the way she finds the strength to control her powers and block out the voices is to basically go crazy and create another personality. And that personality is named Malevolence. And she has control over this amazing, terrible power of basically unlimited telepathy, unlimited telekinesis. But she's not the same person. She doesn't really have a moral center. And so if she thinks that somebody has double crossed her, or if she sees somebody as a threat, she's going to take them out. That's just pure villain.
Yeah. And it's her character really comes through in a unique way as you follow her journey. And it took a moment before I recognized that she's the second protagonist in the story, the main one, yes. But you don't realize that because you're viewing her through the eyes of the other characters. So you're getting third-hand information, second-hand information until we finally are inside her mind. Mm-hmm. And what you discover inside her mind lets you know that just because you have power, the power itself doesn't make you a villain. Like you said on the show, it's your character. Mm-hmm. And that becomes extremely important just in today's world. We don't have superpowers. But we do have influence. I almost think influence is a very interesting dynamic that people have. Mm-hmm. And when you call yourself an influencer, what you are saying is that due to who I am, what I represent, the platform I have, I can influence people to either follow X or follow Y. Mm-hmm. And when you start to think about just how powerful it is to be an influencer, you really want to make sure you use that responsibly, because there are some people who will follow you just based off of what you say. If you say, you know what, I don't think we should drink coffee anymore, and you have the opportunity to sway millions of people, and millions of people say, you know what, Parker said don't drink coffee anymore, I'm not going to do it. I was watching on Netflix. It's not a superhero show. It was called Another Life. It's a sci-fi show. Horrible show. I mean, well, it's not a horrible show, but It could be better. So there's a scene where the aliens abduct this lady, but she has 250 million followers. So
Mm,
that's the United States. Okay, that's pretty much the United States. And she has influence over 250 million followers, and the aliens use that to their advantage. And
mm.
I was thinking, that's what I meant about influencer. Like,
Yeah,
here you go, you have influence over your family, you have influence over your school kids,
right,
teachers, all that stuff. So you have influence. Everyone has that power to influence, but how are you going to use that power?
right.
So that's why I wanted to just bring that back in about villainy and heroes. So it's not the power, it's the character of the person. So, and of
Yes.
course, we're going to bring it to, and I like this book a lot because it does have that Christian subtlety to it,
Mhm.
particularly because even though these are superheroes, they're not superhuman in the fact
Right,
that they're completely invulnerable to what happens in life. They're not invulnerable to, oh my gosh, my kid got sick, I have to go take
right,
him to the doctor. They may
right.
have superpowers and get healed quickly, but at the end of the day, they're still vulnerable to a sin sick world.
Mhm.
And they need a power greater than their own. And
Yeah.
um I'll have you speak about that power, about the power journey. I'll have you speak about that. I don't want to take
Well,
over too much.
one of the things that I really, this is a superhero book, but ultimately what I wanted to kind of, for readers to get out of this is that there is a superhero out there, and his name is Jesus Christ. He doesn't put on a costume. He doesn't, do all these kind of things, but he is saving people's lives every day, and he's changing lives, and he's giving people hope. And those are the types of traits that have traditionally been associated with superheroes, and just the fact that that Jesus made that sacrifice for the sins of the whole world. He did something extraordinary, and with superheroes, you also get that self-sacrifice for the really good heroes. I'm not talking about the morally gray, dark, gritty variety
Right.
that have popped up in the last 10 to 15
Yeah.
years,
Hmm.
but that ideal, and Jesus represents that ideal to the extreme, in that it's he's the Son of God.
Amen.
There is no greater, there is no higher power than that.
Hmm.
And so yes, there are superheroes in the story. There are people with powers. There are people making decisions whether to do good or bad. But the answer to all of those problems, to the problems that everybody has everywhere, can be found in the Lord. And so again, I hope that comes through in reading the book, and in reading all my books. It's a consistent theme.
Yeah. And I loved Jordan's World. I raved about that book and we talked extensively. Poor
Mm,
Angel, your wife. I
mm,
literally I took you away for like 2 hours to go, talk about your book. And I would have did it now, but I had to do something before the show. But I just, like I said, I like your writing. And what's really cool,
mm,
I get to see your writing evolve. And that's what I like about doing my shows, is that
mm,
I get to see your writing evolve and I get to see how it gets better. And each book makes it better. So some people, they work 10, 15 years, which nothing's wrong with that, but you
mm.
work a really long time on the first book, not realizing that the more you continue to write, hopefully you get better at this thing called writing,
Yeah.
because you start to get feedback, people start to tell you things about it, all sorts of things happen. So yeah, I'm really glad to see. So this is your debut novel.
Mhm.
Mindfire was your debut novel. I was going to make that front and center real quick. That was your debut novel, Mindfire, and now you're on book what, 7 now? 7, something like that.
Well, technically, I'm finishing up my fifth book, but I'm about to embark on a trilogy, and got some short stories that are going to be part of anthologies. Been really busy, so it's a
Yeah.
good time to be an author.
Yeah, it is a good time to be an author. I always say that it's never a bad time to be an author, as long as you follow in the footsteps that God gave you and use that
Mm,
gift. And I know I'm supposed to be doing, hopefully, if they still want my 2 cents, I'm doing hopefully an endorsement for the anthology that's
mm,
coming out with Ambassador International. So
definitely.
I got the book. He said May. I think he told me May. And so I'll be able to get that to you guys. If not, I'm still going to read it and you're still going to be on the show. So either way, you get me. Either way.
Yep.
So it's no big deal. All right, Alan, thank you so much for being with me for this Afterthought. I really
Thank
appreciate it. I
you.
haven't done Afterthought in a while because a lot of the authors don't want to be on camera. They don't want to be on camera. So, and I don't want to just talk to myself. I mean, I
No,
can, but I do that without help. So, but yeah, but I appreciate you being with me today, Alan, and really appreciate the book. Can't wait to have you back soon.
definitely. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
And for those of you who are joining us, we had a great time talking to Alan Steadham, and he is the author of the book Mindfire. I'm going to show that book cover again. It's a wonderful book. It's a superhero story that has Christian subtle elements to it. All the characters are wonderfully flawed. They have opportunities for redemption, has a really great multi-generational story arc, and lots of other things. So if you want a superhero story that's not your typical superhero story, go ahead and pick up your copy of Mindfire today. All right, gang, thank you for joining me for this Parker J. Cole show, Afterthought. You have a wonderful, absolutely glorious, blessed day. God bless.